Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Let's Grow Polling. Normally hosted by Jason Schultz, but again, he is off tonight, and we have a new face in Jason's basement, his polling man cave, whatever we want to call it. This is Chris Clark. He is an announcer with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. He's also does some announcing with PI over the summer and does photos as well for the Beer Money Polling page. And we have a great show lined up for you tonight. Thanks for tuning in once again. We had a great weekend to round out the Badger State Tractor Pullers points finale down in Monroe last Saturday at the Greene County Fall Nationals. A great crowd, a record turnout for vehicles, unbelievable day of polling, and just an awesome benefit to help with the Greene County area. And then they round out the evening with Madison County, a regional country band as well. Couldn't ask for a better day, especially with the weather that we've had here in southern and southwest Wisconsin. So we'll be recapping the Greene County Fall Nationals. Still a lot of polling left here in southern Wisconsin and, of course, around the country as well. We have a couple local events coming up this weekend. We'll get you caught up on that. And we'll also be highlighting the Hybrid Redneck Rally later in the show as well. So a lot of great stuff coming along the way. So let's get Chris Clark on board, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ryan, and glad to be here. I know I did a show a few months ago with the Badger State Tractor Pullers announcers were on, and Jason asked me to come on down, and you might see me from time to time here throughout the winter, come down and just talk about what's going on in the polling world and whatnot. And I think we should start tonight's show right off and talk about a hot topic on pull-off that has been lately, and that's the 2017 NTPA rules have come out here lately.
Yeah, that really, that I think always sparks interest, any rules for any of the organization, but NTPA specifically, and they've made some bold changes, or possibly at least what we've seen on pull-off, especially with the restrictor plate that they're calling it with the super stock divisions of polling, and that's definitely sparked a great debate, and I think it's good for the sport to have this type of debate, and thanks to the Morgans for having a forum like pull-off to let people voice their opinions.
Yeah, that's right. The restrictor in the turbo for the super stock class definitely drawing a lot of attention. What I'm most excited to see is the new rule on how it all shakes out with the new full pull rule. The NTPA going to a floating finish for all classes, and all tracks will be set at a minimum of 330 feet. And the boundary lines, new for a lot of pullers, the out-of-bounds lines will extend all 330 feet. And it says if any vehicles go past 330 feet, that's their pull-off rule. Kind of new this year. They're going to change it up, shake it up, a long time. Once you're past 300 feet, I believe the out-of-bounds lines stopped at 300 feet, and you see a lot of pullers, they just let their vehicles drift one way or another past that 320. It's a little different this year, or this next summer. It's going to be for a lot of mainstay NTPA competitors. They're going to have to be watching that out-of-bounds line all the way to 330 feet. It's going to make things possibly more interesting and more exciting at the end there. And it's going to, instead of going, you think you just need to go 320, get in the pull-off. Some competitors are going to have some different strategies to try and let it sail out there past 330 to get in the pull-off. You're going to have a top. Your setup's going to have to be just top-notch every single time you go out, as if that's the goal for every puller. But it's really going to shake things up a little bit next year.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I believe for most events, with the 320 rule that they've had in place for the last, 5 or 6 seasons or so, when they went to 310 and 320 rule, and now dragging it out to 330, I think it's going to put on a lot better show, and it does give relieve some of the pressure off of the sled operator, as well as these vehicles continue to create horsepower and continue to build their setups and just fine-tune their vehicles every off-season. And I think it'll just allow for the NTPA to put on a lot better show with the 330 rule, and it'll make it a lot enjoyable for fans, because especially on the super national level, they have the space and the room to put on a 330-foot track, and that's going to deviate, obviously, facility to facility as they work their way across the country next summer. But I think it's going to just enhance their show even more.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's one thing is if we be honest here, I'm sure a lot of competitors, once you get up in the bigger classes, to hook their tractor 2 or 3 times a night, it puts a lot of stress on the tractors and the motors and everything else and the drivers. But at the same time, it's the pullers are out there to do that. They're out there to go pulling, and sometimes it's fun for the fans to see how them vehicles can withstand and what they can withstand if they got to come back 2 or 3 times in a night. But it's going to be a little different this next year. That'll be fun to watch for sure. Another exciting rule change on the NTPA side is the Superstock 4-wheel drive diesel truck class has moved up to the Grand National level, and they're now on the Grand National stage, the Superstock diesel trucks. So that'll kind of be exciting to see them, and I'm sure the number's going to be very strong on that Grand National level. And the first year as Grand National, everyone in that Superstock diesel truck class is going to be wanting that points champion to say they were the first one on the Grand National level.
Yeah, that's for sure, and especially I hope both organizations will be able to work out a schedule where there's not too much, if any, conflict like they've done with mini rods with the introduction to them on Silver Series for the Pro Pulling League. But definitely excited to see the diesel trucks on the Grand National circuit, and that's only going to draw a different set of crowds here for them and just bring in. And they've also added a 2.6 and a 3.6 class onto the regional level as well. So I believe, especially in that Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky area, the 2.6 turbos are still being used as well. So that's going to give them guys an option that don't want to go maybe to the 3.0 smooth bore rule of the Pro Pulling League. And NTP has been a little bit slow with the diesel trucks, but I think they're moving in the right direction and getting those classes settled in on their circuits as well. And hopefully the numbers will just hopefully increase for them as well on the regional levels. I know they've struggled, at least here in Region 3 and 5, with the diesel truck class, but with offering now the 2.6 and the 3.6 will be something I don't know what their turbo rule will be, if it'll be a smooth bore 3.6 or what. It's not very specific yet. We'll get more information as the winter progresses, but should definitely add to their show there as well. Just a quick shout out to our super fan of Let's Grow Pulling, Chuck, checking in. Glad to have him along, and of course all our viewers from across the country, and we even have around the world tonight. We have checking in from Australia, Martin, Western region of Australia tonight, or should say good morning to them. Around probably 7 o'clock in the morning. So thanks for tuning in to Let's Grow Pulling, and Canada's in the house as well, so we do have a wide variety of viewership here on our Monday nights. Glad to have them along. A busy night, whether you're a sports fan or a lot of different events going on, or politics fan. So it's a wide range, and everything's being covered tonight. So you can get your tractor pulling fix in, and maybe check some Monday Night Football out. Maybe flip over to the debates.
Yeah, they said they advertised on Monday Night Football. On their app, you can watch both at the same time, I guess. You can watch the presidential debate and Monday Night Football. I don't know. The NFL is making it easy to watch both,
Yeah, I don't know if you must be able to select the audio from the football game and then watch the debate or what. Maybe
they'll use the NFL commentators. You just voice over the two candidates. That'd make it interesting.
Yeah, it'll be like those bad lip readings on YouTube. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Did Hillary just say first down?
No, that's funny. Yeah, definitely a lot going on tonight. I'm glad to be here, and glad to have you guys all across the world and across the U.S. listening. We talked about the 2.6 diesel truck class, and if you're listening and you have a 2.6 truck at home throughout the country, it says right on the NTPA's website, the full rules going to come on later on. Definitely check that out. And, cruise over to pulloff.com, and you can see all the forums on the new rule changes for the NTPA. It's a pretty exciting time, I guess. The end of the season, which is a little bittersweet, a little disappointing, but yet the end of the season, you look for next year, and a lot of exciting things to come next year, I think.
Chuck said he had to steal the kid's iPad, Brandon. But yeah, thanks, and we'll be getting into the points. We'll be congratulating, going over the 2016 Badger State Tractor Pullers Points Championship, and of course, as you all know, the Beer Money Pulling Team and the Remedy taking home the championship in 2016 in the 4.1 Limited Pro Stock, crowning them down in Monroe. As with the majority of the classes, besides the diesel trucks who were crowned a couple weeks earlier this month, but still just a great show all around with the addition of the Unlimited Super Stocks and the addition of the Light Pro and semis down in Monroe. Just it's a long day, but if you're a true pulling fan, that is probably one of the best days of pulling throughout the season, and a great way to round out the Badger State schedule. So again, we'll be getting over that, going over the points championships here in a little while, and
while we do that, I think we should just mix in the local polls that we're having, or maybe we'll mix them in throughout the night. We talk about the first one, the Retreat World's Fair.
Yeah, that's world's famous.
Yeah, the world's famous Retreat World's Fair here in Retreat, Wisconsin, and 2 nights of polling, 2 days of polling, September 30th and October 1st. September 30th, the first day of polling, gets kicked off the full slate of antique pulling. Pretty much every weight and every antique class there on the first night, September 30th, and October 1st. 2 tracks, 11 a.m. the poll starts, and 1:30 it says the Midwest Pulling Sled and the Track Patrol Sled will be there at 1:30. That's really when things get amped up with the bigger classes. 2 tracks, 100% payback. It's always a great time. I've wanted to go there for the last several years, but I've never made it to Retreat World's Fair, and I don't think I could drive there on myself. You have to look it up on the map to see where Retreat is. It's over by the Viroqua area.
Yeah, it's kind of in between Viroqua and DeSoto, if you're familiar with Southwest Wisconsin, and it's kind of tucked away on top of the ridge, and it's quite the place. They actually used to have mud bogs there. So they switched over from having mud bogs there to pulling, and it's slowly been a work in progress. It's kind of a softer, sandier track but they've really done a great job over there. The crew putting on a lot of pulling that they put on at the end of the season, and then they also have a great parade on Sunday. And in years past, they've handed out cans of beer. So just saying, it's definitely a one-of-a-kind place. It's off the beaten path, but if you're in Southwest Wisconsin and looking for a great pull as the season winds down for the upcoming week, that's definitely a great shot, especially if you want to see some local pulling. And it's free of charge to get in. They just ask you to patronize the concession stands and the local the food, and they have a little, I guess, a bar and restaurant that they have right there on site as well. But just a unique pull and setup that they have right on the hillside.
Yeah, a great mix of a lot of local classes, along with the 9,300-pound Super Farm. 95's Hot Farm will be there, as long as Super Stock and Open Stock gas trucks will be there. 8,000-pound Open Street diesels, Light Limited Pro Stocks, and the 2.5 diesel trucks, just to name a few, along with a whole bunch of local farm classes there as well. Definitely check that out. You can find more information for that on pulloff.com as well.
Yeah, I believe they do have a website. If you just search Retreat World's Fair, I believe they actually do have a website that someone maintains.
It is a pretty nice website.
And then, Wisconsin Polling Promoters. He does a great job throughout the season. For as much as all the different polls that he posts on his page, just crazy, and he represents all across Wisconsin. So shout out to Matt, who does a great job with Wisconsin Polling Promoters. And if you just follow him on Facebook, you're pretty much going to find a poll every week throughout the summer, probably near you, if you're in the state of Wisconsin. And we'll probably talk about Dickeyville coming up. We'll do that. We'll kind of spread them out, so we'll get them a little bit later. Maybe we'll indulge in some of the points championships for Badger State.
Yeah, do you want to go into Badger State and then PPL?
Yeah.
We could do that. We'll talk a little bit about Badger State. The finale at the Greene County Fall Nationals, getting a great turnout, fan-wise and puller-wise. We'll give a little shout-out to the ones that won the class, and then you do that, Ryan. Then we'll talk about some of the points champions.
Yeah, so they started out the day with the 540 light pro stocks. They were kind of a late addition. They had a great turnout. I believe they had 5 or 6 tractors show up, and a couple of the new ones got done for the end of the season and put on a great show. It was kind of a longer track, but kind of the tractor that's probably going to be the favorite going into next season will be the 1456 pulling team out of Wilton, Wisconsin, the Burkholtzes with Doug and Colin. They had a quite impressive year for their first year with the light pro stock tractor, jumping up from the Hot Farm division, and they had a great run. They went down to Ohio, I believe Fort Recoveries,
Fort
where they
Recovery,
pulled and
Ohio.
got fourth
Made it into the pull-off of almost 20
yeah.
something tractors. Made
There
it
was
into
like
the
a
pull-off.
5 or 6 tractor pull-off.
Yep.
There was quite a few tractors in the pull-off, and they finished fourth with especially Region 2. That's the hotbed of light pro stock tractors. So this was a sportsman year, I believe, for the light pro stock and the Badger State Circuit, but the Burkholtzes will come away with the points championship. So congratulations to them. First year out with the tractor. They also ran a couple of the WTPA events as well, supporting them, and just kind of hitting different places and tuning their tractor, which should be a great class of tractors on the Badger State Circuit. They're expecting 5 to 6, maybe 7, depending on the event. And throughout the summer, the Myers will have theirs full time. I believe the Niles, they were working on some engine tuning. They didn't quite have theirs ready. They had an older engine in, and what I was told is they'll have their full-on light pro stock engine for next season.
For Bobby Niles, look for that. The John Deere 4010 Sweet Addiction.
And the Cartwrights will have theirs full-time next year as well. They got their first, I believe, full true run with the light pro stock. They did some testing. Brandon was down in Illinois where they just had it rev limited at like 3,000 RPMs, but this was their first time actually full-on, no RPM limit, and they got down the track. They made a nice run, and
Friday that my brother was at in Dover, Ohio, 21 light pros.
yeah, that just tells you that Region 2, which is like Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, they're probably, I think, averaging 20 to 25 tractors a night for the light pro, and I believe they had like 20 or 30 hooks throughout the summer just for them. It's quite the run. And so that was the first class. Light Pro Stock kind of kicked it off for the Greene County Fall Nationals. Let's see. And then they kind of changed things up. We'll go to the 640 Pro Farm. That was heading into the Nick Cunningham had the points lead going into the final night, final session of the 640 Pro Farm. And he walked away with the championship by 2 points over Jerry Mason and the Green Mule. So battle of the John Deeres, the top of the points battle. And it really came down to positioning as Nick Cunningham finished in 4th place. And he needed, Jerry Mason just needed one more spot to... I did read that wrong. It was actually 687 points. And... I promise I'm not drunk. Yeah, that's a 20-point spread.
It is Monday night. Jeez,
yes, it is Monday night, and I had to drive an hour here just to get here. So.
Some people are going to think this is the presidential debate.
Yeah, probably.
Now you're telling lies.
Yes, I am. But I did correct myself. So
all right,
I am admitting that I was wrong.
That's fine, Crooked Ryan.
Yeah. Don't throw me in jail, please.
Yeah, the industrial strength. It really was a two-tractor battle all summer between the industrial strength and the Green Mule. Yeah. The 2 tractors from Illinois. This year, the industrial strength.
Green Mule won ISP points.
He won ISP, so yeah, they were probably going back and forth down there because they do between the ISP schedule and Badger State, they try and hit both of them, and those 2 tractors have definitely been the 2 to beat the last couple of seasons, and I believe this is. Trying to think if this is back-to-back for Nick Cunningham. So if someone wants to correct me, but it could be back-to-back for him as well. There are quite a few back-to-back points championships this year on the Badger State Circuit. But the 640 Pro Farm, always a tough competition, and they had between 6 and 8 strong each night, and between it was always a great Wisconsin-Illinois battle in that class with the 640 Pro Farm. So again, congratulations to Nick Cunningham, the Industrial Strength 5020 John Deere, always popular on the Badger State tractor pullers and always stands out with the industrial yellow that you see. So it's always a different looking tractor, and it's a very beautiful looking tractor that you see all summer long of the Badger State tractor pullers. Move on to the, let's go to Light Limited Super Stocks. And kind of a legend with the Badger State tractor pullers, and his 55th consecutive year of pulling is what we found out with on his 55th anniversary of pulling. Larry Hawthorne taking the win and taking the points championship as well. I believe it was between him and Aaron Kleckler kind of throughout the summer, as I believe some breakage early on in the season. And this class is up and down in numbers, just depending on the poll. And I believe they have some new competition coming in for next season, and only going to make the class better. And had a great showing. I believe they had 10 or 12 light limited super stocks show up. They had a guy from New York, a guy from Ohio, and then the East Central Iowa guys with the Moore polling team, and Pure Addiction coming over. So I had a great showing at Monroe. I don't remember the guy's name. I have to look at the results. He pulled Friday night in Western New York. Yeah, drove 700 miles to Monroe to pull in the afternoon at the Greene County Fall Nationals. So that is dedication right there. And pulling a Deutz or Dutes, depending on which part of the world you are from. But
I've never seen a Deutz tractor before.
We just have to pick on Brandon a little bit, but and then also another Deutz coming from Ohio, all the way from Ohio to pull, and it was a really fun class. And Larry Hawthorne actually picking up the win in his hometown pull to round out the season. He got the win over Josh Wackoltz from Oshkosh, just for fun. He finished 4th in the points. So again, congratulations to Larry Hawthorne and Mark Hawthorne driving the Little Green Giant Deutz 80-6, and Aaron Kleckler running runner-up this year with Double Vision, the Oliver 1850, and then Gene Werda and Cody Witchman, and Rod and Cody Witchman on Cause and Conflict, rounding out the top 3 for the light limited super stock category with the Badger State tractor pullers. And just looking for of course, that class continuing to grow across the country, many different organizations, and many different variety of rules and weights. And I'm actually got a chance to talk with Clint Tucker last week, and looking forward to Gordyville this year, and the way that they're going to have the light limited super stock class, running them together, but actually having 2 classes together and separating out depending on which weight you run.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to make it interesting, and depending on which, if you run with the Badger State or maybe with the South Central and the Wisconsin tractor pulling rules where you're allowed to run the alcohol, or down in Kentucky with the KTPA and the Bob circuit. So looking for great things for the upcoming season with the light limited super stock course, a staple on the Badger State tractor pullers. And congratulations to Larry Mark Hawthorne. I'd have to try and find out how many points championships that's been for the Hawthorns now in the Badger State
the
tractor
Little
pullers.
Green Giant, I bet that's been pretty few, or quite a few there. I'll take the Super Farm tractors. Our next at the Greene County Fall Nationals, a large class of Super Farms. I believe it was 16. I believe in Monroe, and taking the points championship this year. Jim and Brian Barman, father-son team from Black Earth, with the hooked up 1466 International, taking home the points championship. Congratulations to them. I know they worked hard all summer long with that hooked up ride. Beautiful looking tractor. And second place, Screaming Norwegian, with Nick Score, Sean Boyd, and the crew doing the driving of the Case IH, finishing second in the points battle. And to crank it up ride, Dan Vinny, one of the tractors from the Vinny stables, Dan Vinny finishing third. Oh man, congratulations to those top 3 in the Badger State Super Farm tractor class in the points championship battle.
Yeah, it's the top of the top when it comes to Super Farm tractors. I believe was there 5 or 6 that ran on the Champions Tour all summer long as well, on top of the Badger State circuit, and down in Wheatland was it Badger State tractors 1, 2, 3, I believe, that rounded out like the actual finish,
right.
and then of course with Don taking home the points championship, and so now that's every year a Badger State tractor has taken the Super Farm Points Championship with the Champions Tour except one.
Yeah.
So
except one.
it's the title continues to come back to Wisconsin, and I think with Super Farm being kind of a product of Wisconsin pulling, congratulations to the Barmans and just all the Super Farm tractors. We had a great turnout. It was a nice mix. We had some Badger State, of course, the Badger State staples, and then we had some NTPA tractors show up as well, just to get in a final hook on the season. And it was just a great mix of tractors. It was the second to last class of the night, and a wide variety, especially when we can get some of the Eastern tractors with that run normally the PI. With the Stuckmans bringing out their D21, and sometimes we get the Fords over there from Milwaukee. So we have a wide variety of Super Farm pulling here in Wisconsin, and definitely a tough class. And you can always be proud to be points champions with the Badger State circuit. So another staple on the Badger State circuit. We'll move to 466 Hot Farm, another big class. I believe they had 20 or 21 entries. Of course, that was definitely helped by some of the recent flooding and another local pull-up of Viola that couldn't host their event last weekend. And so we had some of the Tri-State guys come down as well to mix in with the Badger State guys. And this was probably the closest points battle all night, and it really came down to positioning. There was, I believe, 15 points tractors that ran throughout the season, and of course, congratulations to Lee Ruff driving the Fair Warning Case IH 1466, taking home the points championship, just squeaking by another champion on the Badger State circuit many times, Alan Paulson with the John Deere 8345 R Edition Deere Addiction. That was kind of a tough spot. They were kind of in that middle pack of classes. The sun was setting. And Deer Addiction, I believe, was a little bit earlier in the class, and either earlier or later, I don't remember. I believe they were a little bit earlier, and then the track kind of came around where Lee Ruff got in front of the Deer Addiction tractor, because that's really what they were shooting for. And they were able to get enough tractors in between them, because coming into the Fall Nationals, Alan Paulson had the lead over Lee Ruff by just 2 points, and Lee Ruff finished with 42 points to 36 points on the day for Alan Paulson, and it was enough to give them a 4-point win over the Deer Addiction crew. And then coming in a close third was Just Feeling Around by 1 point. So they were just they needed one more spot in between them and Alan Paulson to actually bump them up into second place. But that just shows you how close this Hot Farm category is, and the amount of numbers that show up each night. It's really a toss-up of who's going to take home the win.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You just know that Lee Ruff, he came to win with the Fair Warning ride. Coming into the pole 2 points behind in the points lead, and he goes out of the pole 4 points ahead with the points championship. He came there that night with one thing on his mind, and that was going home on top, no doubt about it.
And it could possibly be, I'll have to wait and find out, it could possibly be their first Badger State Points Championship with the Hot Farm, but it's definitely probably, I know they were pretty excited. They were right behind us, anxiously waiting to see what the results would be. And of course, a shout out to Adam Adrian and the crew with Memory Maker taking home the win. What a great way to round out this season. And they finished in 6th place overall in the points. If you look at, they had 16 points tractors throughout the season, and they probably averaged at least 15 a hook, and plus 15 to 20 depending on the night. So again, congratulations to Lee Ruff taking home the win, Alan Paulson coming in second, and your third place finisher, Michael, Doug, and Warren Lookborough but just feeling around, rounding out the top 3 with the 466 Hot Farm tractors. I guess we'll make it over. Everyone kind of knows. We'll round out the limited pro stock tractors, and of course, on a strong run was the Beer Money Pulling Team. Once again, they've had a great
Mike from Sparta, Wisconsin. They're gonna go on a charge next year. I know, and they're gonna be once again up there vying for that points championship.
Yeah, this is the second year in a row now that they have finished runner-up, but they've been probably one of the most consistent tractors the last 2 years with this limited pro stock category. It really changed momentum, though. A couple weeks before Hillsboro, the Remedy, they had a kind of a bad week of pulling. I believe they finished middle to, I think, even a last place finish at one of the events before Hillsboro. And then G-Force with the Gerlachs, they were leading, and once again, midway through the season, they had a tough break at Hillsboro. And that kind of knocked them out of contention for the rest of the season. They were able to get back for the Greene County Fall Nationals, but they'll be back strong once again for another year. We had a new addition to the Badger State Tractor Pullers with the Leonards and all bucked up, driving quite a ways from central Wisconsin. So shout out to them. They take home a top 5 finish in the point standings, finishing 5th overall. So congratulations to them. 4th place goes to the Kuntz with the Diggin' Deer, and 3rd place Jared Fredericks with the Wild Buck. So just a great group of tractors, and just looking for more great things in addition with this 4-1 limited pro stock class.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jordan Leonard from up by Marshfield, and he had a lot of breakage this year. He had a couple times tractor breaks. I know he put a hole in the oil pan. Definitely one to look out for that Rookie of the Year award at the Badger State Banquets night. I'd put him in that hat for Rookie of the Year, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Chuck, just to answer your question quick, right now we haven't had rain for the last couple days here. The water has kind of receded for the most part. It's still definitely saturated. We're hoping for a great week weather-wise to kind of dry things out and get everything prepared for the Hybrid Redneck Rally. So fingers crossed. We definitely don't need any more rain here in the southwest Wisconsin, and just looking for a great event with a Hybrid Redneck Rally. More info on that coming up a little bit later on the show, but right now I believe all the water has receded for the most part to the Pine River that runs along the Richland County Fairgrounds, but the ground is definitely still really saturated.
Yeah, it's a little soggy out there, but the 10-day forecast, a lot of dry weather, a lot of sun, a lot of wind. To get things dried out there at the fairgrounds, look for a great event. We'll talk more about that later in the show, but the big class, the pro stocks.
Yeah, quite a difference from a year ago where the Greene County Fall Nationals kind of set the stage, and it was a winner-take-all event. But the Brinkmeyers had quite the year in the pro stock category, a class that we've seen some new tractors jump up, and so we'll be looking for a full class of tractors. It was kind of up and down again with numbers that we've seen with the classes as people continue, maybe took the year off or retuning things as the 10,000 pound pro stock class. If you try and maintain just one or maybe even two like Randy Brew does, quite the feat. But hands down, this is a back-to-back championships now for the Brinkmeyers of Tim Don and third generation driver Jared, driving the MX 255. known as the Foolish Pleasure, taking home the championship, finishing second. Congratulations to Randy Baru and Ben Higgins, so Tool times 2, and Frank Molitor and Jason rounding out the top 3 with the red Cadillac. And really looking forward to this class next year, as the word is that
Van Gendrens.
the Van Gendrens might be jumping on board with the Badger State Tractor Pullers full-time, as well as the Stampede, I believe, will be back out full-time after finally getting back on the seat and rebuilding theirs. They came out, I believe, for the Lafayette County Fair was the first ever run on the new Stampede tractor, and hopefully the Baders will get them back out next year. I believe they just took the year off. They had a busy season last year, and of course just coming up just short in Monroe last year with the Points Championship. So getting those 2 tractors back on board, and just a great group of pro stock tractors, and it's quite amazing for a studied organization to have this many high-level caliber tractors, and possibly with the addition of the Van Gendrens, with the geared green.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no doubt about it. We look for, it could be 10 every night with the pro stocks next summer. Definitely look forward to that, and big congratulations to Foolish Pleasure. To my count, I believe five wins on for the year, and I believe 3 or 4 second place finishes. So they've been on the podium just about every poll except for, I believe, a couple. So big congratulations to them, to the Brinkmeyer family.
Yeah, and
move into 2-wheel drive trucks up next. Three classes of trucks. We hit all the tractors. Now we'll hit the trucks. 2-wheel drive trucks.
Yeah, this was them and the semis were crowning their Points Championship. Semis, the Pro Mod semis, also I believe a sportsman class on the air. So the only points, the full-on points battle for the truck category going on at the Greene County Fall Nationals was the 2-wheel drive trucks, and it was a battle again between the Duppies and the Timmermans, a family feud. And this year, the Duppies will come out on top, where last year the Timmermans, it was a tough break for the Duppies. Last year they had breakage right on the line, and they just couldn't get it fixed in time to come back, and that allowed the Timmermans to leapfrog them. And this year, it was a 4-point lead for the Duppies coming in to the show, and they had a great finish. They finished 2 spots in front of Terry, Kyle, and Kurt Timmerman with a hot nasty. So Tim Deppie and the fast freight truck. I believe Willie might have been driving all the trucks for the Greene County Fall Nationals. I could have been wrong.
Tim drove his. I think Willie drove 2.
Oh yeah, Willie drove his grandpa's, and
Willie drove Bad Badger and Inches Matter. Congratulations to Willie too, just getting married. I believe a week or 2 before the Greene County Fall Nationals.
Sure. Yeah, they kind of had a couple weeks off there between Baraboo and the Greene County Fall Nationals, but it's a growing class for the Badger State Tractor Pullers. It's one of those classes, depending on the pull, where they'll get a couple different jump in, maybe from the Region 5 guys or the WTPA trucks. And it was a great show. I believe they had 8 or 10 two-wheel drive trucks, and they put on a great show. It was a long track. So just again, congratulations to the Deppies on their first Badger State Tractor Pullers championship in the two-wheel drive truck category. They took it home with an 8-point win over the Timmermans this year, and we'll be looking for another family feud between the Timmermans and the Deppies next year, of course, as well. And Wayne Timmerman bringing down the showtime. I believe he made it to the Enderley. I know the mini rod.
Yeah, the mini was there.
I'm not for sure if the two-wheel drive truck made it to Enderley, but they had a great season as well with the NTPA regional circuit and the WTPA circuit as well. And of course, rounding out the night was the Pro Mod semis. Again, just a new class for the Badger State Tractor Pullers. We want to thank, of course, the Sailors for coming over from Minnesota. I don't know how many times they made it over, but quite a few throughout the summer.
Times, yeah, and they had a little bit of breakage that prevented them from coming for a couple of them, I believe. But yeah, thanks for them for coming over. Definitely big haul from Oak Park, Minnesota, over to Wisconsin.
Yeah, especially with their first hook with the Badger State Tractor Pullers all the way over to Mackville, so they came all the way across the state of Wisconsin. And of course, a big congratulations to Ryan DeBrew with the Playing with Fire. Kenworth taking home the championship by 2 points over Chris Milsna and Chris
Schrader.
Is it Schrader or
Yeah,
okay? Yeah, it's one
Schrader,
of
I
those.
think.
So depending on
Yep.
2 points win. So they had a great year. They had some early difficulties, especially up in Macville, and
Yeah.
we'll get into the wild rides after this. After we get
Yeah.
to the points battle as well.
Yeah, congratulations to Ryan DeBrew and his family. They travel around all along the state, and they've had the playing with Fire Kenworth for a few years, and they've really built it up over the last couple of years to really compete on the state level. And just edging out Chris Milsna and Chris Schrader with the Crazy KW. It's going to be fun to watch this class next year.
Yeah, so that rounded out the Greene County Fall National. But of course, they had an addition. It's kind of a special treat that we only get to see on the Badger State Circuit at the Greene County Fall Nationals. They actually had an invite for the Unlimited Super Stock category, and we also had a full-on diesel super stock, thanks to the Hendersons for making the trip down from Minnesota. They brought a light pro, or a limited pro stock with the straight horse, and then a straight horse unleashed or gone wild. The full-on diesel super stock battling with the Elke burners, and so we had the Cheezix tractors with the Blackburns taking on the Hertz with the Running Bear team, and it was a great showdown. And I believe this was a slideshow of Josh Blackburn kind of had a wild ride on the International Threat.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
so
the first couple tractors in that class kind of missing the front end weight, and definitely an exciting ride. Glad he made it through okay, and the tractor looks to make it through okay. But a little excitement for the crowd.
Yeah, so we'll put this slideshow together. So this is a little slideshow of Josh Blackburn's ride on the considered armed and dangerous International Threat 8,000-pound Unlimited Super Stock.
See him.
Here comes International Threat. Josh Blackburn
We got a
driving.
video now.
Yeah, I believe
I'm down here by
Jason
the leader pool.
was.
Everybody asked me to move
Jason
down.
was live streaming.
Yeah.
This is a clip out of the live stream from Beer Money Point.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so as you can see, he was on basically one wheel there, and you had a great picture that you got that I'm sure it's on the Beer Money Pulling Team Facebook page as well, and I was right there with the video camera for Wet Smokin' Promotions, and that will definitely be making the Wild Rides and Wrecked video for next year on Clint's video package there. So that was probably the most unbalanced ride that I've seen a Blackburn Cheezix tractor have, but it was a tough track for him to pick up on, and of course being the guinea pig kind of tractor between the two, you gotta kind of guess the weight, and they definitely I think underestimated how much front weight they had, but put on a great show for the track for the fans, and glad he was okay, and the tractor didn't seem to take too much damage that we could see to bust off into wheels or anything. So kudos to them on great engineering after the pounding of that tractor.
Yeah, and that really showed the benefit of a two-tractor team there. The first tractor having a wild ride, and of course his dad comes back with the second tractor and takes the win of the event. He just sails on past there.
Yeah, he had
takes
probably
home
a
the win.
perfect run.
Yeah,
I mean,
near
didn't need
perfect
any
run.
change whatsoever. I think he went like 360, somewhere in that range, and the roar of the crowd after he came down flying through, and it was just great to see them. Normally, my one chance is up in Toma, so it's always great. They're just down the road in Shullsburg, so not too far of a drive for them. And of course, thanks to Jeff Hurt and family for coming up all the way from Ohio, bringing the two tractors up and putting on a show for the fans. He was able to drive both tractors in as well. Thanks to the Halls for coming over from Waupun. They brought two tractors. Gansmer down from Platteville with some local flair as well with that. And, of course, the Hendersons bringing out he had a great run. I believe he finished fourth out of the class. So he had a great run. He was in the 320 range. And I don't think he could have asked for anything more out of the tractor, and so it was great to see the Diesel and Elke battle with that, and at the Greene County Fall Nationals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll talk. Should we move into our next event? Another big event coming up this weekend here in Wisconsin, southwest Wisconsin, just outside of Platteville in Dickeyville, Wisconsin. And Ryan, what do we got going on in Dickeyville, Wisconsin this weekend?
Yeah, so it's going to be the first annual Rock Cut Blowout Pole, a brand new facility, Dickeyville. Right, it's literally the
Right on
second or
151.
last exit before you head into Dubuque, Iowa, and it'll be a 6 p.m. start time. They'll have, I believe they'll have 2 tracks, or maybe that's what they're working on.
No, 2 tracks.
They are
It
going to
is
have 2 tracks. Okay,
yep.
yep, 2 tracks. They'll have classes for the event, 6,500-pound outlaw, which I believe is anything that can make the weight at 6,500 pounds. 9,000-pound modified farm, 3,000 RPM. Speed will be determined, I believe, the day of the event. 9,500 farm stock, 3,000 RPM. 13 by 4, 38 tires, no turbo. 11,000 farm, 3,000 RPM, 12 mile per hour. 11.5, too hot to farm, 3,000 RPM at 18 mile per hour. 13,000 farm, 3,000 RPM, 12 mile per hour. And then that'll probably be on one track. They'll have the farm classes. And then looks like majority of what the Southwest Wisconsin pullers with the 2.5 diesel trucks. Then their light limited pro stock diesel trucks, which is the old 2.6 class. They now run at 7,800 pounds with a 24-inch hitch. 6,200 pound two-wheel drive modified trucks. 9,500 466 hot farm 3x3 turbo. 9,300 pound super farm, and 9,500 limited pro stock, and also they are going to allow the light pro stocks to run with them as well. So great mix there, and so anticipated limited pro stocks and super farm. So they were originally, I believe, going to be a shootout class between super farm and limited pro stock, but they are going to split the class up, and then light pro stock will also be able to run with the limited pro stock. Of course, Jeff Ball, owner-operator, him and his daughter drive the Dr. Deere Super Farm. They had a great season as well. They kind of ran with a bunch of different organizations, Tri-State, the Wisconsin Tractor Pullers, probably hit a couple regional events, and of course some Badger State events as well. They were winners in Mineral Point, and I believe, how many events did they win in a row in that couple week
stretch,
series?
yeah,
I think
4
or 5 events in a row. So they had a great
summer.
Great summer for them, and great family, and the weather looks great for the weekend for their first annual event.
First annual. Admission only $10 for adults, kids 6 to 12, $5, 5 and under free. And come on out early to Dickeyville. They're going to have a Wisconsin Badgers football tailgate party before the poll in Dickeyville, just outside of Dubuque, Iowa. The first annual Rock Cut Blowout Truck and Tractor Pull. Look for big things to come for that event. A brand new facility, brand new track this year. A lot of good things to happen in Dickeyville.
Yeah, it's always great to have these after point season events and especially being right in that tri-state area. So it's going to be right in the heart of a lot of different pullers, and it just gives them another chance to get one more pass down before they tear everything down and start preparing for next season. And knowing the balls, I'm sure the track will be in great condition, and I'm going to try and make it down. We got a couple of events going on that day as well up here in Richland Center. We have Center Color Fest coming up this weekend, and UW Richland Brew Fest, but definitely going to try and make it down. But if you're going to be in the area, it's definitely going to be one to watch. And
you can catch me down there. I'll be announcing. I'll be on trackside in the announcer stand, on the track, in the crowd. I'll be all over announcing that event. So hey, if you heard it on beermoneypulling.com, on Let's Go Pulling, come up and say hi. Give me a shout out. Talk to me about how you heard it on Let's Go Pulling. There, definitely a great event. We look forward to that.
And of course, something that we're gearing to a couple weeks away. It's hard to believe we're only a couple weeks away. Kind of really rounding out the season is the 2016 Hybrid Redneck Rally. And of course, new for this year, 4 monster trucks will be on the site. I believe he's bringing them in from Live a Little Productions from out west. There'll be helicopter rides and bounce houses for the kids all day. 11 a.m. starting out with the snowmobile grass drags across the street from the fairgrounds, the Mid-State Grass Drag Circuit, along with ATV and dirt bike drags as well. Polling will be kicking off thanks to the American Mini Pullers, 11 a.m. It'll also be a chassis dyno as well on site. And then from 11 to 1, monster truck meet and greet, autograph session in front of the grandstands where you get to meet the drivers and see the trucks up in personal. And then, of course, 11 a.m. we have, the Limited Pro Stock, Light Pro Stock shootout. 2 classes of them, so they'll be split up between their classes first for the first go-round. And the top, depending on the numbers that they get, the top half will move on to the winner's bracket. And then they'll have a consolation round. And then they'll mix the tractors for the finals between the Limited Pro and Light Pro at 9,000 pounds. They'll also have the 3.0 diesel truck shootout. They'll have a 3.6 diesel truck class, the Midwest Truck and Tractor Pullers Outlaw Diesel class, basically the super stock gas trucks at 530 cubic inches, and a 485 cubic inch gas truck class. So a full day of pulling as well, monster trucks, and then a very special treat, the National Tractor Pulling Legends Series. They are bringing up, I believe, 3 or 4 vehicles that are going to be making 2 exhibition classes. So these are modifieds from the 70s and 80s. They'll be coming up from Ohio. The Legend Pullers, that'll be Joel Rath with the Terrence Land Express, Mike Ott, and the Boss Project, and Kevin Dick. So 3 and the Spirit of 76. So a very special treat for us here in Southwest Wisconsin. There'll also be a kids pedal pull thanks to the Kitschy their pedal pull that they bring to all the events. That'll be for ages 4 to 12, so kids on site, a full day of activities for them. That will be behind the grandstands. And then 1 p.m., they'll start the mud with mud trucks over in the mud pit. 4 classes of them, as well as the pro classes of the mud bog and the mud pit. 2 p.m., the Tri-County Mini Rod Pullers. And then 2 p.m. to approximately 7, the Monster Truck Thrill Show. They'll be doing wheelie contests, donut cycle contests, racing, and freestyle. And then rounding out the evening, 7 p.m., the SNS Cycle Burnout Competition. So I want to thank all our sponsors, continually the class sponsors. With the 3.0 diesel trucks, I know Mark Topford chipping in $2,500 to raise that class per. Saunders Oil with the 4.1 Limited Pro and Light Pro stock tractors. Lemke Motorsports as well, chipping in money for the, I believe some of the gas trucks. Hazley Machine stepping up as well. So couldn't do this without the sponsors and, of course, the many volunteers for the 4 seasons of fun. Hoping for great weather to round out the season after a rainy summer here in Southwest Wisconsin, to say the least, with churning dirt. Just couldn't get past Mother Nature that weekend, and definitely looking for a great weekend for Hybrid Redneck Rally.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, it's going to be a great weekend. For more information on that, and visit visit hybridredneck.com or search 4 Seasons of Fun on Facebook. You can find out all you need to know. You can visit hybridredneck.com. You can find a bunch of hotels and camping available if you want to travel for the kind of the big end of the year bash. A lot going on, a one-day event here in Richland Center, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think we're gonna definitely try and get. I believe we with the Light Pros, we're gonna get some Region 2 tractors coming up. With the diesel truck class, we'll see what we get for numbers. That's also the same as for the Rudy's Diesel Jam out in South Carolina, I believe, is also going on that weekend, and it's also still points battle with the Pro Polling League. And, of course, quickly we'll get into the Champions Tour some points. I know Chris was down in Wheatland, Missouri, a couple weeks ago and had
We're talking a little bit about the action in Wheatland, Missouri, and now you can see the green streak on the screen right now. And coming into the event, the green streak of Steve Boyd, the Lucas Oil green streak, he was leading the points coming into the night, looking for his first points championship in that modified division with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League on the Champions Tour. Of course, Steve Boyd, a multi-time Pro Stock champion, and looking for his first modified win that night.
And of course, there was a lot of discussion when this first came down a couple weeks ago when they went out of bounds, and then the Longs had a chance to win the points battle. They happened to go out of bounds as well, and then of course Joe Ader, Mr. Consistency, squeaks by, and
it was probably one of the most exciting pulls I've ever been to, being right down there on the track taking pictures. This is kind of the quick rundown on how that whole class went. It was truly, really unbelievable. You've seen the first few vehicles. I believe the Dirt Slinger was out there. He made a really good run. The Tonka Kentuckian, he made a really good run, and he actually popped his blower off at the end of that run. He made a good run. He ended up winning the event, the Tonka Kentuckian did, just squeaking by a couple tenths of a foot past Bill Leichner and the Dirt Slinger. And then about a quarter of the way through the class, that's when we seen the Lucas Oil green streak of Steve Boyd. He came to the line, and everybody was expecting just a monster pass, a big run to cap off that championship tour on the year. And tough luck for Steve Boyd. The tractor drifted over to the right-hand side of the track. He corrected, and it went all the way back over to the left. And actually, he ended up going out of bounds around that 300-foot mark. And a big surprise, the crowd they didn't know what to think. The crowd kind of went silent. Everybody looked around, said, did he just go out of bounds? And yes, he did. The flagman made it official. So from that point on, that whole class, it was up in the air. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Just a few points separating the top three in points coming into that event. So we seen Steve Boyd, he went out of bounds. So then it's all up to see what's going to happen now. So after Steve Boyd run, a couple tractors later, we seen Joe Eder with the 75th edition. He come up to the line, and he knows it's kind of in his hands right now. He had to make a good run. And we seen Joe Eder, he cruised down through the track. He put the tractor into third place with his run. So now we start doing the numbers in our head, and we seen Joe Eder, he had to finish in fifth place or better to win the points. That's what he had to do. So we knew he was in third now. He had to finish in fifth place or better. And a tractor come up after him, I believe. You gotta see who it was. It was the judge, Derek Barga, with the judge Next Generation. He come up and he sailed past Joe Eder, just edged Joe Eder out, put Joe Eder down in fourth place. You remember, he had to be in fifth place. He had to be in fourth to win. If he was in fifth, he was out. So guess who was up next? Greg Boyd. The son, Greg Boyd, with the Green Streak Unlimited. Everybody was watching because the son, he had the chance to help his dad win the points championship on his run. All Greg had to do was go past Joe Eder. That would have bumped him down where they would have tied, and the tiebreaker would have went to Steve Boyd, and he still would have won the points championship. Well, we seen Greg Boyd run, and a disappointing run for Greg. Feel bad for him. The Green Streak Unlimited did not go past Joe Eder. So then right there we know Joe Eder, he was kind of in the driver's seat at that point. It was looking pretty good for him. We started doing the numbers again, and the last hook in the class, the MAV TV tractor, the Longs, they come up, and right there we all did the numbers. There was three possible outcomes that come down to the very last pole of the season. Either the MAV TV tractor, if he finished in first or second, he won the points. If he finished in third and bumped Joe Eder down, it would have been a three-way tie. And then Boyd's still would have won the tiebreaker, and they would have won. So it all came down to that last pole of the season. And to everybody's surprise, the MAV TV tractor drove right out of bounds at the 100-foot mark, and everybody knew it. A big congratulations to Joe Eder. Everybody congratulating him. Really an awesome night with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's just something that you just don't really see too often in pulling, when you're especially at that level, and coming right down to the end, and as we see in this picture, everyone's still just enjoying it, and just kudos to them for for the way that it ended. And I mean, I think everyone was just still happy, and they were probably just laughing at how it ended, kicking themselves, but you just kind of laugh at it.
This was my picture of the night. I was walking around as Jason walks in. We welcome Jason here. I was walking around. Jason, you have to look at this picture. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
I lifted my camera up in the air, snapped the picture, and we see Joe Etter with the big congratulations. With, I believe, one of the teams from the Dirt Slinger team.
That looks like with
awesome.
Bill.
It looks like Bill.
Yep.
And then right next to him, Steve Boyd with his hands up in the air with a big old Steve Boyd grin. And he's like, I don't know what just happened, but he was just unbelievable. He just couldn't believe it. He was happy for the other team, and it was just awesome to see.
But yeah, I think on that note, so we welcome Jason back into the studios.
Fairgrounds look good. They're drying out nice.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Chuck's crossing his fingers.
Rally. Did you guys touch on the rally at all?
Yep, we did.
Yeah.
We went from the rally.
I got more sponsors to update. Scott Olson sent in money, and Stroud sent in some stuff. I just haven't had time to. I'll get all that updated, but hoping to get the Light Pro, Limited Pro purse up to about $7,000. So 2,000
awesome.
to win it, and I think the shootout's gonna. Talking to a lot of guys. Mailing out the application for Louisville and Gordyville tomorrow.
Yeah, you're probably like
pretty excited about that.
Pretty excited.
Yeah.
So
you probably almost fell off your seat when you probably seen that announcement.
I was so happy. I wanted to wait and until Monroe was done, put down our results for that, and won the points on Saturday. And you guys sounded great tonight, so thank you for the show. And appreciate it.
Thanks for letting us do this.
Heck
and
you guys are awesome.
Of course, I don't know why Chuck has to ask. He was, wondering if any beer was going to be sold at Hybrid Redneck, and I think that's a pretty positive yes on that for Chuck. So we should be good to go there, Chuck. And oh yeah,
he's like our moderator.
I said he's our super fan. So super fan of Let's Grow Polling. So. Of course, we want to thank everyone. We've had people from Australia, Canada, Great Britain tonight on board. So we want to thank them for tuning in. Good morning to everyone in Australia.
Rudy from the Netherlands always wants to stay up, but he goes to bed.
Yeah, it's probably like around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. there somewhere.
Let people, we'll download this audio and get on the SoundCloud. I'll try to get iTunes done this week. So our podcast will be on iTunes.
Yeah, so
we'll take the audio of your guys' video.
Yeah, so if you want to, we're going to get back to getting to an audio version of our live show. That'll be available on the SoundCloud, and of course, anytime you can rewatch Let's Grow Polling throughout the week right here. If you go to the YouTube channel, and of course, we'll be glad to have you along next week. Let's Grow Polling, the Beer Money Polling Team. Website every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope you had a great night. Thanks for Chris for tuning along, joining us. I'm sure he'll be back again, and we have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about.
Where's Brandon tonight?
He showed up, and
Brandon was here. He did a lot of promotion for us. Gave us some topics. He just had to duck out. He just left.
Yeah, did he? I know he's been working some long hours.
Yeah, he was updating us. I think there was some people chatting with him on Facebook.
Yeah, cool.
So.
Yeah, Brandon's here chatting.
So he was kind of so I think he was kind of like more in the social media aspect.
Well, I think that helps the whole show, guys.
Yeah,
lets people know what's going on.
Yeah,
we're getting a real studio. I promise I got the doors ordered.
Yeah.
Did you show Chris the new studio?
No, I haven't. We haven't had time because we both got
Sarah's
here.
laundry room?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I appreciate having me on this week, though, and we already got one interview lined up for next week. And Jason, Jeff Ball, he's going to interview. He's going to recap the first tractor pull in Dickeyville in a long time.
We were hoping to go to that, but we got so much to do at the fairgrounds next weekend. And I want to go and support it, but we got to just stay back and get ready for Hybrid Redneck Rally.
Yeah, so again, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday night right here in Let's Grow Polling. For Jason, Chris, I'm Ryan. So long. Have a great rest of your evening.